Krishna, just give me a minute. I'm trying to can you hear me? Hare Krishna. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, can hear you, Prabhu.
Okay, is it clear?
Yes, Prabhu.
All right, okay, okay. 1 minute. I need to open the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam explanation. It's also right, so just wait, let me open Dr. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in a different screen. Nāmāśraya-bhakti. Yes, okay. Nāmāśraya-bhakti. Close. निरंतर शुद्ध नाम कीर्तन द्वारा अन्य नामा प्रसमोह शांत होए actions. Okay, let's resume. हम श्री गुरु श्री तपः कनकं श्री गुरु वैष्णवांश्च श्री रूपं साग्रजातं सगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं अद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादां सर्ववन्दिता श्री विशाखान्वितां. Okay. ये च नामापराधिनः कर्मज्ञानादिरहिताः श्रवणकीर्तनादिभक्तिमन्तः किन्तु अनाश्रित गुरुचरणत्वात् अधीक्षिताः तेऽपि वैष्णवशब्देनैव अभिधीयन्ते. Now is the beginning of a Purva Paksha. Purva Paksha means an objection. There are some who present an objection. Those who are committing Nāmāśraya, but they are free from karma, jnana and other activities. they are engaged in Shravanam, Kirtanam and other items of bhakti. But because they have not taken shelter of a guru, the lotus feet of a guru, they are not initiated. They have not taken Diksha. They also are referred to by the expression Vaishnava. Tatahi Vaishnava iti sa asya devata iti sutre nana bhaktir iti sutre nana cha siddhyatyarto ye dikshaya devati krita Vaishnavo ye cha bhajanena bhajani krita Vaishnava te ubhepi vyapadeshantar rahitya Vaishnava eveti teshamapi na syam narakapatadi purvavat diti kechid ahuhu. So they are referred to as Vaishnavas because according to rules of Sanskrit grammar, one who accepts Lord Vishnu as one's worshipable deity by certain rules of Sanskrit grammar, that rule when applied to the word Vishnu transforms into the word Vaishnava to indicate that a Vaishnava is one who has accepted Vishnu as his worshipable deity. There's another grammatical rule which indicates that a Vaishnava is one who engages in various types of devotional services to Lord Vishnu. So those who have taken initiation and accepted Lord Vishnu as their worshipable deity, they are called Vaishnavas. And those who are engaged in various forms of devotion service to Lord Vishnu, they are also called Vaishnavas because there is no other way to refer to them as Vaishnavas. So, like the Vaishnavas who were referred to earlier on, these Vaishnavas also, even though they have not taken shelter of the lotus feet of a guru, they have not taken initiation, they are still referred to as Vaishnavas, which indicates that these people also do not go to hell and so on. Then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur responds to this objection. Naitatsu Sangatam. Now, this is not a very consistent way of thinking. Yato mridehamadim ityado guru karna dharam ityukte gurum vina na bhagavantam sukhena prapnuvanti. Because in where they have right. 11.20.17. Let me take out this word so that you understand the context. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur refers to this verse. Nidehamadyam sulabham sudurlabham pavam sukalpam gurukarna dhar mayana kulena nabhasvateritam puman bhavabdhim nattaretsa atmaha. The human body, which can reward all benefit in life, is what is automatically obtained by the laws of nature, although it is a very rare achievement. This human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat having the spiritual master as the captain and the instructions of the personality of Godhead as favorable winds impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul. So notice that here, a spiritual master, a bona fide spiritual master, is accepted as the captain of a perfectly constructed boat known as the human body. So, on the basis of this statement, we can understand that those who have not taken shelter of a guru, taken shelter of the lotus feet of a guru, they do not easily attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Atas tesham bhajana prabhave naiva janmantare prapta guru charanashrayana eva satam bhaktya bhagavad praptir na anyatha ityachakshate. So therefore, by the force of their devotion service in this life, in a future life, if they take shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide guru, then by the strength of their bhakti, they can attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no other way by which one can attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the opinion of certain authorities. Athacha, apart from that, or moreover, Anashrita gurorapi ajamilasya sukhena eva bhagavad prapti drishyate eva tasmad iyam atra vyavastha. Ajamila had never taken shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, but very easily attained the Supreme Personality of God. It was very much seen. So therefore, this is the arrangement that has been made by the Supreme Lord. Ye go gardhabha dayaiva vishayeshu eva indriyani sada charayanti. O Bhagavan, ka bhakti, O Guru, iti swapne pina jananti. Teshameva namabhasadi ritya grihita harinamnam ajamiladinam eva niraparadhanam gurum vinapi bhavatyevodharaha. Those who, like cows and asses, let their senses roam around sense objects, and who even in their dreams don't know who is Bhagavan, what is bhakti, who is a guru. Only for those people, through their method of engaging in namabhasa and so on, by chanting the holy names of Lord Hari without offenses, like Ajamila, even without the help of a bona fide guru, there is deliverance for them. Harir bhajaniya eva bhajanam tat prapakam eva tad upadeshta gurureva guru upadishta bhakta eva purve harim prapuriti viveka vishesha vatve api. For those who have distinct understanding that Lord Hari is meant to be served, devotional service to Lord Hari causes one to attain him. The spiritual master who instructs that, the one who instructs about that is the bona fide spiritual master. Devotees who have been instructed by such gurus, they are the ones who have previously attained Lord Hari. So this is a very distinct understanding. Despite that, you have statements like no diksha, na cha satkriya, na cha purascharya managikshate, mantroyam rasana spriggeva phalati Shri Krishna namatmakaha. Let me read this out. This is also there. There. The holy name of Lord Krishna is an attractive feature for many saintly liberal people. It is the annihilator of all sinful reactions and is so powerful that, save for the dumb who cannot chant it, is readily available to everyone, including the lowest type of man, the Chandala. The holy name of Krishna is the controller of the opulence of liberation, and it is identical with Krishna. When a person simply chants the holy name with his tongue, immediate effects are produced. Chanting the holy name does not depend on initiation, pious activity, or the Purascharya regulatory principles generally observed before initiation. The holy name does not wait for any of these activities. It is self-sufficient. Iti pramana drishtya jamilade drishtantena cha kim me guru karnashvameena namakirtanadhureva me bhagavat praptir bhavini iti manyamanaha tu guru avagya lakshana maha aparadhat eva bhagavantam na prapnoti. So for those who have a very clear, distinct understanding that Lord Hari is the object of service, and by rendering devotion service, one can attain Lord Hari, that person who instructs us in devotion service to Lord Hari in such a manner that one can attain Lord Hari is the bona fide spiritual master. He is only such a person is the bona fide spiritual master. Devotees who have been instructed by such bona fide spiritual masters have previously attained Lord Hari. So those who do have this distinct understanding, if they, on the basis of statements of evidence like this one, which says that the holy name of the Supreme Lord is not dependent on initiation and so on, and by seeing the example of Jamila, if they think, why should I take up the hard labor of accepting a guru? Just by engaging in Namakirtana and other items of bhakti, I can attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So those who think like that, they are engaging in a very great offense, Guru Avagya. Yeah. They are engaged in a very great offense in the form of Guru Avagya, insulting or neglecting a bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, they do not attain the Supreme Personality of God. Kintu tasmaneva janmani janmantare va tad aparatha kshaye sati Shri Guru Charana Shuta eva prapnoti. However, in that lifetime or in a future lifetime, after this offense diminishes and becomes null, then after taking shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master, then he attains the Supreme Personality of God. Then another Devatantra Bhaktanam Papa Aparadhayo Karminamiva Vyavastha Ityeke. Some say that those who are devotees of other deities, they are dealt with like the karmis in relation to their sinful activities and their offenses. Bhakti Devya Ashrayana Samanya Bhavat Tatopite Nyuna Kakshayam Nivishta Ityapare. On the other hand, some others say, okay, now I understand what he's saying. So some authorities say that these persons who don't accept the Guru, they are dealt with like the karmis in terms of their sinful activities or their offenses, like devotees of other deities. Then there are some others who say that because somehow or other these people are, they have in general, they have taken shelter of Bhakti Devi. They are placed in a lower category. I think there's a typing mistake. According to the reading that Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur has, Krishna Chaitanya Thakur is saying that because these people have not even slightly taken shelter of Bhakti Dev, they are placed in a position that is lower than the karmis. Looks like there's a typing mistake here. यदुक्तम ये अन्य देवता भक्ता यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विता तेपि मामेव कौन्तेय यजन्ति अवृद्धि पूर्वकम् अहम हि सर्वयज्ञानां भोक्ता च प्रभुरेव च न तु माम अभिजानन्ति तत्त्वेनातश्चवन्ति ते यान्ति देवव्रता देवान् पितॄन् यान्ति पितृव्रता भूतानि यान्ति भूतेज्या यान्ति मध्याजिनोऽपि माम् इति. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead has stated this in Bhagavad Gita. Those who with faith engage in the service of other deities, they engage in my worship, but without following the rules and regulations. Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur notes that it means that they've abandoned the rules and regulations which lead one to liberation. There's another statement here. I am the enjoyer and Lord of all sacrifices. Those who do not have knowledge about me in reality, they fall down. In other words, they are in material existence. Those who are worshippers of the Devas attain the Devas. Those who are worshippers of the forefathers, they attain the forefathers. Those who worship the ghosts, they attain them. Those who worship the Supreme Lord, they attain Him. ये तो केवलम अपराधिना एव तेषां नैवोद्धारः. And for those who simply commit offenses, there is no liberation for them. As it is stated, Tanaham Dvishita Puran Samsareshu Naradhaman Shipam Yajastram Ashubhan Asurishveva Yonishu Asurim Yonimapanna Mudha Janmani Janmani Mama Prapyaiva Kaunteya Tatu Yantyatha Mam Gatimati. Those who are the lowest among human beings, those who are very cruel, and those who envy others, I throw them within material existence repeatedly towards inauspicious, demoniac species of life. Having attained birth in a demoniac species, they are bewildered life after life. Oh, son of Kunti, by not attaining me, they simply attain the lowest destination. Yatu tesham api madhye kamsadayas tesham kamad dveshad bhayat snehad yatha bhakti varre manaha aveshyat tad dakham hitva bhavat tad gatam gatah ityadi vachana balat bhagavad aveshe naiva nama aparadha kshayan muktir iti kechit. And then those amongst the demons, such as Kamsa, because they have fixed their minds on the Supreme Lord. One can fix one's mind on the Supreme Lord through lust, through intense hatred, through intense fear, through affection. By fixing one's mind on the Supreme Lord, many persons have gotten rid of sinful reactions and they have attained his destination. So on the strength of statements like this, these persons, because of their Bhagavad Avesha, because they are so completely fixed on the Supreme Lord, their Nāmāśraya-bhakti is diminished and destroyed. and they attain liberation. This is the opinion of certain authorities. Nāmāśraya harantyakam ityupalakshanam dhyanādīnām api atah dhyana paunah punyam eva aveshe ityanye. Nāmāparādha yuktānām Nāmāśraya harantyakam. That's a statement in the Padma Purana. It says that those who chant the pure holy names, their offenses are destroyed. Now this also refers to other forms of intense engagement in devotion service, like intense meditation on the Supreme Lord, which is one stage of smaranam. And because demons like this, they are so completely obsessed with the Supreme Lord, and therefore they have repeatedly engaged in Bhagavad Dhyana, meditation on the Supreme Lord. That is their intense absorption in meditation on the Supreme Lord, because of which, just like the holy names themselves purify one from sinful reactions, such meditation also purifies one from their sinful reactions. This is the opinion of other authorities. Krishnavataratve tad anaikantikam yataha kechid avesha rahitapi narakam banadi kauravadi sainyag gataha tad dhastam marana prabhavat kechid darshana matrasyapi prabhavat tam prapuriti purvatraiva uktam ityapare. And then there are some others who say that this rule is not strictly followed when Lord Krishna himself descends, because even those who are not completely obsessed in thinking of Lord Krishna, such as the ones who were in the armies of Narakasura, Banasura, the Kauravas and so on, by the influence of being killed by his hands, or some of them, even by seeing him, by that influence, they attained him. That has been already noted earlier on. This is the opinion of other authorities. Then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has some remarks here. Vivriti. In material existence, the living entities, with the help of their senses, they accumulate knowledge and they wander in the world of karma. In order to accumulate knowledge, or when we talk about accumulation of knowledge, we are talking about form, sound, smell, taste, and touch, which are gathered through the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. So these are the 5 sense objects. So the knowledge that comes about comes from the senses, they are not gross in nature. That is subtle. Tanmatras are subtle. It is the by the presence of these gross sense objects, knowledge from the senses are accumulated and consolidated. They come near the consciousness of the living entity. They're brought to the consciousness of the living entity. In reality, form, taste, smell, sound, and touch, these sense objects, even though they are fit to be brought to the presence of consciousness, that aspect of consciousness that is capable of grasping these temporary sound, touch, form, taste, smell, that is actually known as chitta, which is a reflection of spiritual consciousness. That is the one that takes care of these temporary feelings, and they bring about a sense of spiritual unconsciousness, you can say. From the gross point of view, it is that which is referred to as the mind. Even though the mind, intelligence, and ego are reflections of spirit, there is a relationship between them and matter. The jiva refers to the undesignated conscious entity which is devoid of all of these coverings. That jiva is complete. No, that jiva is a portion, an amsha of the complete spiritual entity. In other words, he is a special portion of the potency of that complete spiritual entity. That complete spiritual entity refers to Krishna. When one's consciousness wanders externally to the external world, then a single entity is made known to that living entity in terms of its name, appearance, attributes, activities, and in terms of its number. It may be singular or plural. Under the control of one's mind, then all these temporary transactions with the enjoyable objects of the universe enter into relationships with that living entity. The first rung in the ladder of that relationship is the name. It is the name that is the very foundation of that item which is named. The other four senses, singularly and collectively, consolidate knowledge of all of this together, and it is perceived as being true by the living entity. In this world of measurement, because that is the nature of everything being separate from each other, knowledge born from the senses is incapable of dealing with transactions that take place beyond the universe. In this world of Maya, knowledge about any item is first of all brought about in terms of its name, the name of that item. However, the name of Vaikuntha is having a nature of absolute independence from material or mic names. All mic or material names refer to particular entities, and they are recognized by the living entities' sensory awareness. But that entity which is referred to by the holy name, which belongs to the kingdom that is beyond Prakriti, beyond material nature, it is unfit to be transformed into an enjoyable item that can be equated with a Mayic entity. Therefore, the entity of Vaikuntha itself is referred to as Adhokshaja, that which is beyond the grasp of the senses and the mind. The opposite of Adhokshaja is Akshaja. Akshaja means that which is within the range of sense perception. Within the conception of, with the sensory conception, with the thought process that is limited to the range of the senses, whatever we get to know, that is unfit to be referred to by the expression Adhokshaja. And because that Adhokshaja entity is in Vaikuntha, it cannot be an item within this world of measurement. World of measurement means we can measure it using our senses. Therefore, Shastra says, Nāmāśraya-bhakti Krishna Chaitanya Rasavigraha Purna Shuddho Nityamukto Bhinnatvan Nāmānāminam. I won't translate that. You should be knowing that. Those who are fit to be bewildered by materialistic knowledge while dealing with items from Vaikuntha, they are not expert in understanding the intended meaning of the words bhakti and jnana. The holy name Nama and the holy named, the one who is referred to by the holy name, Nami, in the transactions of Vaikuntha are non-different. But within material existence, there is a distinction between the holy name and the one who is referred to by the holy name. It is for this reason that the material world is considered the world of difference, and the spiritual world is considered the world of non-difference. The variety that is found in the world beyond the range of our sense perception, that cannot embrace the degraded nature of the differences of this world. There, even though the holy name and the person who is referred to by the holy name are not there, the name and the one who is referred to by the holy name are non-different, and because of that, there is no distinction between the spiritual name, the spiritual form, the spiritual quality, the spiritual associates with their uniqueness, nor is there a distinction with the spiritual lila, pastimes. In this world of matter, there is a distinction between each item, and there is also the degraded nature of these entities here, because the person who is referred to by the holy name in Vaikuntha, despite his unprecedented variety, has no degradation, because there is no distinction in the spiritual world. But there is material, and there is degradation within material non-difference. These are all some points that from Madhvacharya's Bhagavatam commentary also he's brought it up. So therefore, the holy name coming from Vaikuntha, it cannot have a name that is indicated by an item within the world of enjoyment, material enjoyment. So you cannot equate that name with a name here. Therefore, that name, that Vaikuntha Naam, that holy name coming from Vaikuntha, that alone is Nitya, eternal, Shuddha, pure, Purna, complete, and Mukta, liberated, is the form of living rasa, conscious rasa, Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, and it is Chintamani, a spiritual touchstone. Seeing the lack of the living entity's perception of Vaikuntha out of extreme compassion, that holy name from Vaikuntha has descended to this world. And it is the living entity, the spiritual living entity, who's freed from the two designations. The two designations are the subtle body and the gross body, who develops a relationship with that Vaikuntha Nama. Only such a living entity is actually fit to develop a relationship with the Vaikuntha Nama in every aspect. Due to evil association, the living entity becomes averse to Lord Hari. Okay, due to evil association, one thinks that that evil association is appropriate to himself. Then the living entity becomes averse to Lord Hari, becomes averse to Lord Hari's service. And he thinks that these are natural. In this way, he develops a deluded misunderstanding. But in reality, when one when one separates himself from the association of those who counsel us about, those who give us materialistic counsel, and when we are influenced by the association of those who are spiritually aware, in other words, those who are pure living entities, then one can realize one's own self. The holy name from Vaikuntha. In this way. No. From the perspective of the living entity who is the marginal potency, there is the marginal nature that comes between the holy name in Vaikuntha and a name within Maya existence. The Nāmāśraya-bhakti, which is a reflection of the holy name from Vaikuntha, is in an interim position. So what he's saying is there are names of items within material existence. These are Maikana. Then there is the holy name of the Supreme Lord in the spiritual world, that is Vaikuntha Nam. Now then what is Nāmāśraya? He says Nāmāśraya is right in the middle. It is neither a Maik name nor is it a Vaikuntha name. एक दिके अपराध, अपर दिके मूर्त निरपराध. On one side is offense. On the other side is absolute non-offense. In between is Nāmāśraya, which is freedom from offense. In other words, on one side you have the name, on the other hand side you have the Nāmāśraya, and in between you have Nāmāśraya. So this is typical of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's way of explaining. There is chanting of the name, Nama. There is chanting with offenses. That's called Nāmāśraya chanting. You have Shuddhanam chanting, first class, and you have Nāmāśraya chanting, third class. Right in between, you have Nāmābhās chanting, second class. In Nāmābhās chanting, we are chanting the reflection of the pure holy name. In Shuddhanam chanting, we are factually chanting the pure holy name itself. In Nāmāśraya chanting, we are offensively chanting the holy name. When one serves the holy name, and one commits Nāmāśraya, then beyond that is Nāmābhās, which is in between the spiritual sky and the material sky. Then there is the holy name which is located in Vaikuntha. Nāmāśraya Naam Seva Nahe. Nāmāśraya chanting is not service to the holy name. Nāmābhās Naam Seva Nahe. Nāmābhās chanting is not service to the holy name. And service to the holy name is not offense or mere reflection that is devoid of offenses. In material existence, the living entities are engaged in offenses, and they are bewildered by thinking that service to the holy name is what they are doing when they are committing offenses. When there is absence of Nāmāśraya, then there is Nāmābhās. But beyond Nāmābhās, in the abode of the spiritual sky, Naam Seva, service to the holy name, is located. When that is the case, we notice three distinct features in the practice of the holy name, Naam Sadhana. Niraparaadhe Naam Loile Pai Prema Dhan. This is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Charitamrita. When one accepts the holy name without committing any offenses, then he attains the treasure of Prema Bhakti. From this Shruti statement, this statement, authoritative statement, we can understand that as long as we are possessing anartha, as long as we are with anartha, in the status when we are with anartha, then there is no Nāmābhās or Naam. When we are free from offenses, in that status, then when we utter the holy name, but without a knowledge of Sambandha. And because of that, we lack qualification to engage in Nam Bhajan. Then that is referred to by the word Nāmāśraya. Okay, let me just make it clear here. This is something that we often spoke about. So there is a distinction between Nama, Nāmābhās, Nāmāparād. As a result of Nāmāparād, one can either get the results of Trivarga, Dharma, Artha, Kama, or you may get the insignificant result of not even getting that. As also he has mentioned elsewhere, there are two types here. Type 1. Type 2. Elsewhere he has explained this. Unintentionally meaning unknowingly, intentionally means knowingly. So if unintentionally one is engaged in offenses and he's chanting, then he will get the results of Dharma, Artha, Kama. If knowingly, intentionally one engages in offenses and he is chanting the holy names, then he will not even attain the benefits of Dharma, Artha, Kama in his next life. While the living entities in material existence are in their situation of worldly enjoyment, in other words, when they are conditioned, they have no qualification to chant the holy name. When one has the qualification to engage in Nāmābhās chanting, then there are no offenses. It is for this reason that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, as soon as one utters the Vaikuntha Naam, then all the sinful reactions are destroyed. And the atonement for all sinful activities are executed. And by chanting the holy name, one experiences Prema Bhakti. Prema Bhakti arises. Before the holy name arises, before the Nama arises, there is Nāmābhās. In other words, the holy name arises after Nāmābhās. In that case, after one chants in Nāmābhās, according to worldly vision, when we notice in the life of a liberated person as seen through conditioned worldly vision, when we see him functioning like a conditioned soul, that is not reality. That actually nourishes his bhakti. When that is apparent in the life of a mukta purusha, liberated soul, then one should not consider that that is a result of his offenses. But on the basis of this, a person who is committing Nāmāśraya, he should not say that the first time he chanted the holy name, he has engaged in Nāmāśraya chanting, and that he himself is the liberated Vaishnava Ajamila, and he should not consider that his personal offenses nourish his devotional service bhakti. If he were to do so, then certainly, because of the offense of engaging in sinful activities on the strength of chanting, he will certainly be led to fall into hell. By taking shelter of the mode of analysis of Srila Chakravarti Thakur, the Prakrita Sahajiya group certainly engage in inauspicious activities. It is to protect them from this that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Thakur Mahoday, the revered Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Thakur, writes, even though when Ajamila first of all uttered the holy name, all of his atonements have taken place. All of his anarthas were destroyed because of his relationship with Nāmāśraya. And this is seen in the analysis, the method of analysis of Sri Chakravarti Thakur. Still, by the influence of time, from the time it takes for a seed to produce a fruit in a tree, there is some time gap. So from the perspective of eternal time, this is very little time. It is not that immediately after Nāmāśraya, one begins to serve the holy name. But after accomplishing a little bit more, then I need to do, then bhakti will be nourished. It is not like this. Everybody is not Ajamila. And by observing through external vision, Ajamil's abominable activities, when one considers that and they seem to be equal to a person who is not liberated. If we see such such an abominable activity amongst a non-liberated soul, then there will be a delay for him coming to the point of chanting the pure holy name. Therefore, when he first chanted the holy name, talking of Ajamil, though he uttered the Nāmāśraya-bhakti, prior to this, the holy name had invoked a remembrance of service to the Supreme Lord. In fact, that is what will happen. Even though the first utterance of the holy name by Ajamila, as a result of Nāmāśraya-bhakti, brought about the happiness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, still, to bless the living entity, he sent the Vishnu Duta. And by the inspiration of Bhagavan, it was pointed out that various forms of simple activities were obstacles to the engagement of service to the holy name. I mean, Ajamil's engagement in various activities. Still, apart from Ajamila, sadhakas who appear later on the basis of this way of thinking, when they endeavor to become equal to Ajamila, and they don't recognize that their sinful activities are due to offenses, and they think that their sinful activities are nourishing their bhakti, and in that way bring about their own inauspicious, just so that these things don't happen. Therefore, from the first time he uttered the holy name until the time he attained love of Godhead, that is the last holy name. When one considers the last utterance of the holy name to be Nāmāśraya-bhakti, then the Prakrita Sahajiya group, they consider that to be natural. By engaging in Nāmāparād, it is a fact that one attains the result of Dharma Pritama. It is a fact that Nāmābhasa leads to moksha, liberation. And it is a fact that when one engages in Nam Bhajan, one experiences Krishna Prema. Na prakritattvam bhakta janasya pashyet. That is the statement that one should not see a devotee in terms of material existence. And in other words, anagrahaya bhaktanam, Krishna comes and depicts various human-like pastimes in order to benefit his devotees. Bhagavatam word. Here, the word bhakta has been used, bhakta janasya, bhaktanam. And you also come across Vichaya Sudarachara word, ananya bhakt. The word ananya bhakt, apichaya sudaracharo bhajate mam ananya bhakt. Sadhureva samantavya samyak prasito hisa. There also. So through these, in these expressions, in order to protect one from the delusion that his aversion to factual service is actually his experiencing of the rasa. The meaning of the word ananya bhakta, that indicates that such a person does not pursue any of the four chaturvargas. In other words, a person who is called an ananya bhakta is one who is not pursuing kama, artha, dharma, or moksha. He is not bound up with the four goals. On the other hand, it is to prevent the living entities indirectly from pursuing these four goals that the Supreme Lord willfully makes arrangements. If someone considers his status of anarthas to be the status of Shuddha Bhakti and is proud because of that, then there is no possibility of auspiciousness for him. In the opinion of Srila Chakravarti Thakur, after Ajamil's first utterance of the holy name, the various evil activities that have been mentioned with regard to him, based on sense gratification, they should not be respectfully received or imitated. On the other hand, indirectly, one should abandon these activities, even though these do not bring about defects in a liberated souls. From the perspective of a non-liberated soul, they are not to be considered ideals. They are never considered ideals. When one has to analyze all of this in a few words, this much can be said, that Nāmāparat, Nāmābhās, and then Shuddhana. These are in a single line of progress. This is what has been taught by the Mahajanas of one category. Another category of Mahajanas, they say, right at first, one appropriately engages in Nāmābhās and attains mukti, and then attains Nam, or pure service. So when one accepts these two different lines of thinking, the intention of the second line of thinking is that, first of all, there is Nāmābhās. Then, by the will of the Supreme Lord, one becomes free from the nature of enjoyment. And one gives up the appearance of the degraded activities which represents offenses such as abominable behavior. It is that which should be understood to be nourishing bhakti. Still, this is all only in consideration of the time it takes for the result to manifest. it is seen that service to the holy name begins as a result of having come to that status. Both these lines of Mahajanas, they are pointing to the same ultimate goal. The intelligent reader should not consider the difference in wordings and analysis of these two different lines of thought of authorities. And if he understands the single pointedness, the single purport, single intention of both sets of authorities, then he can progress on the pathway of Nam Sadhana. Finally, there is one more point to be noticed. When Ajamila chanted the holy name, there were no direct offenses in the form of Arthavad, Artha Kalpana. He did not commit the fifth or sixth offenses. Consequently, inexperienced offenders who commit these two offenses and who belong to the Smarta Brahmin community, even after several lifetimes, even if they utter the holy name millions and millions of times, never can their chanting of the holy name be considered to be on the same platform as the chanting of the holy name by Ajamila. Okay, now let me read out Prabhupada's own simple summary of this. Supplementary note to this chapter. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, text 9 and 10 of this chapter form a dialogue concerning how one can become free from all sinful reactions simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Someone may say, it may be accepted that by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one becomes freed from all the reactions of sinfulness. However, if one chants the sinful acts in full consciousness, not only once, but many, many times, he is unable to free himself from the reactions of such sins even after atoning for them for 12 years or more. How is it possible then that simply by once chanting the holy name of the Lord, one immediately becomes freed from the reactions of such sins? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur replies by quoting verses 9 and 10 of this chapter. The chanting of the holy name of Lord Vishnu is the best process of atonement for a thief of gold or other valuables, for a drunkard, for one who betrays a friend or relative, for one who kills a Brahmana, or for one who indulges in sex with the wife of his guru or another superior. It is also the best method of atonement for one who murders women, the king or his father, for one who slaughters cows, and for all other sinful men. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Vishnu, such simple persons may attract the attention of the Supreme Lord, who therefore considers, because this man has chanted my holy name, it is my duty to give him protection. One may atone for sinful life and vanquish all sinful reactions by chanting the holy name, although this is not called atonement. Ordinary atonement may temporarily protect a sinful person, but it does not completely cleanse his heart of the deep-rooted desire to commit sinful acts. Therefore, atonement is not as powerful as the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. In the Shastras, it is said that if a person only once chants the holy name and completely surrenders unto the lotus feet of the Lord immediately considers him his ward, his dependent to be taken care of, and is always inclined to give him protection. This is confirmed by Sridhar Swami. Thus, when Ajamil was in great danger of being carried off by the order carriers of Yamaraj, the Lord immediately sent his personal order carriers to protect him. And because Ajamil was freed from all sinful reactions, the Vishnu Dutta spoke on his behalf. Ajamil had named his son Narayan, And because he loved the boy very much, he would call him again and again. Although he was calling for his son, the name itself was powerful, because the name Narayan is not different from the Supreme Lord Narayan. When Ajamil named his son Narayan, all the reactions of his sinful life were neutralized. And as he continued calling his son, and thus chanting the holy name of Narayan thousands of times, he was actually unconsciously advancing in Krishna consciousness. One may argue, since he was constantly chanting the name of Narayan, how was it possible for him to be associating with the prostitute and thinking of wine? His sinful actions, he was bringing suffering upon himself again and again. Therefore, one may say that his ultimate chanting of Narayan was the cause of his being free. However, this chanting would then have been a Nāmāśraya-bhakti. Namno baladhyasihi papa buddhihi. One who continues to act sinfully and tries to neutralize his sins by chanting the holy name of the Lord. It's a Nāmāśraya-bhakti, an offender to the holy name. In response, it may be said that Ajamil's chanting was inoffensive because he did not chant the name of Narayana with the purpose of contracting his sins. He did not know that he was addicted to sinful actions, nor did he know that his chanting of the name of Narayana was neutralizing them. Thus, he did not commit a Nāmāśraya, and his repeated chanting of the holy name of Narayan while calling his son may be called pure chanting. Because of this pure chanting, Ajamil unconsciously accumulated the results of bhakti. Indeed, even his first utterance of the holy name was sufficient to nullify all the sinful reactions of his life. To cite a logical example, a fig tree does not immediately yield fruits, but in time, the fruits are available. Similarly, Ajamil's devotion service grew little by little, and therefore, although he committed very sinful acts, the reactions did not affect him. In the Shastras, it is said that if one chants the holy name of the Lord even once, the reactions of past, present, and future sinful life do not affect him. To give another example, if one extracts the poison fangs of a serpent, this saves the serpent's future victims from poisonous effects, even if the serpent bites repeatedly. Similarly, if a devotee chants the holy name even once inoffensively, this protects him eternally. He need only wait for the results of the chanting to mature in due course of time. Okay, so this portion is done. Any questions? All right. So we'll continue next week. Most probably third chapter of Madhurya Kadambini, dealing with offenses of holy name.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, just now you mentioned about Nāmāśraya, and then you said it's neither Vaikuntanam nor, and then can you explain that part again, Prabhu? Nāmāśraya is not Vaikuntanam, and then you were saying something about Nāmāśraya. Can you explain?
This is Nāmāśraya-bhakti. So it's not pure chanting, nor is it chanting with offenses. Sorry.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
I should put it superior Nāmāśraya chanting, inferior Nāmāśraya. Okay. Anything else? All right. Anshākalpudraviyasya Upāsindhya Vacha Patitānam Pāvanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Haribol. Okay, I am shutting down.